हरे कृष्णा। दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
प्रभु जी मी ऑडियो రావట్లేదు।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी। लीलांदा प्रभु, हरे कृष्ण, धन्यवाद प्रणाम। ऑडियो सेलेक्ट।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु, दंडवत प्रणाम।
లేదు प्रभु जी। नो।
ఇప్పుడు మాత్రం హరే కృష్ణ.
yes 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 yes
Is it clear?
yes it is प्रभु जी।
Okay, हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव जविहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधा कृति वल्लभ राधे। जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे। जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे। जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे। जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय श्री कृष्ण। जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन प्रसन्न नयन प्रसन्न भवती मे निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो गौरहरि। जय सच्चिदानंद जय सच्चिदानंद जय सच्चिदानंद गौरहरि। पतिता पावना पतिता पावना पतिता पावना गौरहरि। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव 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 हरि जय गुरुदेव। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। श्री 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 राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय। श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय। ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपः कुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रये। नमो महाबदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गौ ब्राह्मणाहिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुकुं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपः तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणं श्री परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम्। ओम पवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतोऽपि वा यत्स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्ष सभ्याभ्यन्तरं शुचे। श्री विष्णु Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Prabhuji and Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, sir.
You are audible.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Shilpa Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Padma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Anandaram Prabhu, Charanya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Brahmaram Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Very happy to hear all your voices.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Arati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam Prasad Prabhu. Swapna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Santosh Aitya Prabhu. Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Praveen
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhuji,
Mataji, Dandavat
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Madhusudan Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Sanjay Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Priya Prabhu and Shobha Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Deepa Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Saraswati Prabhu and Surrender Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Padma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Thank you for joining. Subbara Prabhu, Nirupama Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Shirsha Mataji, Srinivas Devata Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Tulsi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Raja Ramesh Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Lavanya Mataji, Shri Giraj Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Satyadev Prabhu, Srivali Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Praveen Prabhu and Puja Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Jyotsna Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Very happy. The whole family is here. Hare Krishna. Very happy, Mataji. Prabhuji, am I clearly audible? Actually, I'm using a different speaker. That's why.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
It's low.
Volume is little
Audible.
audible, but it is slightly lower than.
No, Prabhuji, it's loud and clear. Mataji, check
Yeah,
your
it is loud and clear.
volume. It's very good, Prabhu. Very
Mataji,
clear.
Yeah,
just
it's
check.
audible, Prabhuji. I just
Okay,
felt it.
okay. Yeah, I'll try to be. I'll try to be as loud as I can. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5. Canto 5 has been going on for some time. Almost it's at the end. And a very exciting canto. Very inconceivable canto, rather. And some devotees have made wonderful presentations. A great asset created for ISKCON by putting all those slides and sharing those videos and a lot of things. Actually, not many lectures are there on some of these chapters. I was searching where I wanted to prepare myself. It's a good thing that we have done some bit of research and we have repeated some senior devotees what they have shared. So I'll recite the first verse and then onwards we'll just read the translations. The meter of this verse is very different, so I don't know much. So I just try to repeat the Sanskrit words. Please excuse me for my mistakes. Shri Sukha Uvacha, this is Canto 5, 24th chapter, verse number 1. Shri Sukha Uvacha, Adastat Savitur Yojanayute स्वर्भानुर नक्षत्रवच् चरतीति एके यो असौ अमरत्वं ग्रहत्वं चालभत भगवद अनुकंपया स्वयं असुरा पसद समैहिक्यो हि अतद अर्हस्तस्य तथा जन्म कर्माणि चोपरिष्टाद् व्याख्यायम. Shri Sukha Vacha, Shri Sukadeva Goswami said, translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. My dear King, some historians, the speakers of the Puranas, say that 10,000 yojanas, that is 80,000 miles, below the sun is a planet known as Rahu, which moves like one of the stars. The presiding deity of that planet, who is the son of the Simhika, is the most abominable of all asuras. But although he is completely unfit to assume the position of a demigod or planetary deity, he has achieved that position by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Later I shall speak further about him. Hare Krishna. So, thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji, for joining Srimad Bhagavatam class. So, recently I was, discussing about spirituality with one of somebody I know. He practices something else, some other place. Authentic or not, keep it aside. It's a very famous institution. So the discussion came of what is there beyond earth. When we say God, right, he is Akhanda, Akhanda Loka, Akhanda Brahmanda, Nayaka, right? So what is the definition of God, right? So when we started the discussion, for that matter, anybody else, outside, when you talk, their definition doesn't go beyond certain, because they're all human imaginated definitions, right? Barely you hear, oh, God is great. God is great. That's all you hear. Or you might say, God is a maintainer of, Mataji, the verse is Canto 5, chapter 24, verse 1. We are discussing chapter 24 today. So,
Thank you, Prabhuji.
yeah. So, the discussion doesn't go beyond that. And to make matters worse, there are also some so-called spiritual institutions which say that there is only Earth planet, right? And they also say that the Earth planet only has life. Because their so-called gurus, or the cheaters, who have claimed themselves as gurus, could not imagine anything beyond Earth planet, right? And there are also some people who go ahead and define the way the planet according to their own whimsical thing, and their foolish followers believe it also, because they don't have any access to Vedas. Some even say that the whole Yuga cycle is 5,000 years, right? And some even say that there is no Yuga cycle. Some can even, you can say anything. You can say anything. And some say that human beings are the only real people, real living beings. Everything else is, there is no meaning. They don't have life. Even though they're walking around growing like trees or anything, they don't have life. So, while we hear from all these people, my appreciation for A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada just grows and grows and grows. Because just imagine, whatever, 26, 30 of us in this call right now, would we have got any idea of where we are or what this universe is or what these planets are if we would not have heard this from Srila Prabhupada? Or we would not have I mean, how many of us would have imagined getting to a scripture, access to a scripture called Srimad Bhagavatam? Just imagine whether you're 3 years in Krishna consciousness or you're 4 years in Krishna consciousness or 10 years in Krishna consciousness. Our friends are still with us. The same old friends who were there 10 years ago are still with us. Look at their knowledge level and look at our knowledge level. And forget about knowledge. Our acceptance and our faith. Our acceptance and faith. Where are we? The more you read this fifth canto, I was hearing the lectures of all you wonderful devotees who are giving chapter after chapter, Praveen Prabhu, Anandram Prabhu, Deepa Mataji, Subbarao Prabhu, and Prasad Prabhu, Sri Giraj Prabhu. Everybody were giving one after the other. And, now I'm just continuing your, rhythm. And we're almost at the end of finishing the cosmology aspect. I mean, it's so inconceivable and so fortunate we are that, when we are leaving our body, at some corner of our consciousness, we know how big this universe is. And among all this big universe, our choice is going to be very, very specific that I want to go to Krishna Loka. I want to go to Goloka, right? Our address is so clear. We are the people driving the car with a GPS, right? We are the people, great Paramahamsa Swamis are guiding us, right? GPS, great Paramahamsa Swamis, they are guiding us. That, where we have to go, where we are, and where we have to go. Everything is laid out, isn't it? And not only this planetary system, like Mount Meru and what is that? The mountain around the universe, Loka mountain, right? I mean, just hearing them is so inconceivable. There are two ways of looking at it. One, you don't believe it, right? When you don't believe it and say, I don't care what you're talking, these are all imagination. Somebody wrote something and you are reading and you are feeling. But I think all of us are chanting, most of us are chanting 16 rounds. Krishna is allowing us to chant 16 rounds of his names. And he's also given us a faith. If you don't have faith, you can't chant 16 rounds. You can't. We can't do that for more than a few weeks. The pros, in my little spiritual life that I've gone through in this body, I've seen many devotees who have come to 16 rounds, but they have not attended association. They have not been in us. They're very irregular to satsang. Very irregular to satsang. And all of them have left chanting 16 rounds. All of them. And I feel very sorry about it. When I meet them, Mataji, how many rounds are you chanting? No, Prabhu, abhi time nahi hai, we will chant again. So, which means that Krishna has somehow, instead of talking about them, if we talk about us, Krishna is somehow allowing us to continue chanting our 16 rounds. He's giving us taste and he's giving us opportunities to serve him, to develop that taste, so that we continue to chant that 16 rounds. And because we are chanting that 16 rounds, we have some faith. We have developed that faith. And that faith is further helping us chant the 16 rounds, right? And because we have that faith, while we are reading these chapters of cosmology, our appreciation and love for Lord Krishna is increasing, right? When our child makes something in the house, he makes a model for a school or something, we feel so nice. Oh my God, my child is doing all those things because we love him so much, right? So while we read all this, and you look at little Krishna's picture, I was just looking at little Krishna's picture in my house. Even in our center, we have the picture of Yashoda holding Krishna, right, in her lap. The little Krishna, right? You read this chapter and then you look at that Krishna. This little boy has done everything like this. This little boy has made all these universes and in this whole cosmology, and everything is rotating at precise precision, and and every little planet has its own speciality, right? Its own features. It's so amazing, and our love for God and his greatness is so enhanced by reading this cosmology. If this cosmology wouldn't have been part of Bhagavatam, maybe some part of Bhagavatam might be missing, right? Otherwise, I mean, how would you know? How would you know? And now we come to this chapter, which is subterranean heavenly planets. Now, let me tell you, when I heard these dialogues of S.V. Rangarao in Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad movie, he talks, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Pala, Tala, 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 like that, he speaks that, Telugu big dialogue, right? So I used to think that, these planets, below Earth are hellish planets, right? Are hell, there. Like above are, Swargalokas, but below are hellish planets, right? I used to think like that because, and let me tell you, 99.99% people outside, that's what they think. They have no clue what are these planets. Above also they don't know, below also they don't know. But little that they know is above planets are heavenly planets, below planets are hellish planets. But while we read Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 24, we understand that actually below are even more beautiful, even more sensual, and even more materially gross Swargalokas, right? I mean, they are actually Swargalokas below. And as we read, you'll be amazed. I was amazed. I had read this long time ago, but again, when I was reading, wow, why? Planets up and planets down are having so many materially gratifying facilities, right? At least planets up, you have Siddhalokas, people who want to do meditation, who have transcended the material way of happiness. They go towards senses to intellectual happiness, jnanis, and then from intellectual they go beyond to experiential happiness of divinity within, which is Paramatma, which is Siddhis, right? And then above that, is Brahmaloka, and then you finally say, I want love of Godhead, you go upwards. But below Swargas, you don't have that. Below Swargas is all about sensual enjoyment. All about sensual, and all facilities for sensual enjoyment. Right? But we'll go through the verse. Actually, there are not many purports. There are few purports. And one of the purports I definitely like to read is where the glories of holy name, chanting the holy name, is mentioned. We'll read that purport in full. Remaining purports we'll just skip by reading the main parts. Right? So here, Sukadeva Goswami is telling in verse number 1 that my dear king, some historians, the speakers of the Puranas say 10,000 yojanas below the sun, 80,000 miles. Precision is also given. That's the amazing part, right? I mean, ISRO and, what is that? NASA and so-called space institutions of so many countries are trying to figure out so many things. They just read Bhagavatam, everything is already there. They just have to understand and settle down, right? So it's being mentioned with precise miles, 80,000 miles below the sun is a planet called Rahu, which moves like one of the stars. The presiding deity of that planet, who is the son of Simhika, is the most abominable of all asuras. But although he is completely unfit to assume the position of a demigod or planetary deity, he has achieved that position by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Later I shall speak further about him. Text 2. The sun globe, which is a source of heat, extends for 10,000 yojanas. So the size of sun globe is what? 10,000 yojanas, which is 80,000 miles. The moon extends 20,000 yojanas. That is double, right? 160,000 miles. And Rahu extends 30,000 yojanas, which is 240,000 miles, right? In size. So formerly, when nectar was being distributed, Rahu tried to create dissension between the sun and the moon by interposing himself between them. Rahu is inimical towards both the sun and the moon, and therefore he always tries to cover the sunshine and moonshine on the dark moon day and the full moon night, right? So here the size of these planets is being mentioned, and Prabhupada, in fact, he goes further in the purport and he says there is a contradiction against, certain understanding that Rahu is double the size of moon, whereas here it was mentioned 20,000 and 30,000, whereas there is another verse which says, which is Rahu is 40,000 rather, right? So that is clarified by a commentator called Vidya Dwaja. So Prabhupada is making sure that our faith is not bewildered. We don't lose faith in what we are reading through Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam is Amala Puran. It's a spotless Puran. There are no faults in it. So Prabhupada is making sure the clarification is given in terms of the size. I'm sure, none of us know anything about it. So what would we even counter it? But there are people who are more into the Surya Siddhanta, that whole astrology, astronomy, and they might contradict or say comment. So our faith should not be bewildered. So Prabhupada is making sure the purport is sufficing there. Text 3. After hearing from the sun and moon demigods about Rahu's attack, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu engages his disc known as the Sudarshan Chakra to protect them. The Sudarshana Chakra is the Lord's most beloved devotee and is favored by the Lord. The intense heat of its effulgence meant for killing non-Vaishnavas is unbearable to Rahu. And he therefore flees in the fear of it. During the time Rahu disturbs the sun and moon, there occurs what people commonly know as an eclipse. Now, you should understand that this Rahu is a demoniac person who apparently drank the nectar, secretly, and he got this eternal life, because of which his head is running around. Rahu and Ketu rather both. So basically, they always want to create some trouble, and they keep coming between the sunshine and moonshine. So very less number of people understand that if the sun doesn't appear even for a day or even for a minute or a second, then the whole earth planet is doomed, right? Every time we do Surya Namaskara, we should appreciate God. Every time you come out of your house, at least by seeing my seniors, I've started that habit for some time now. Is as soon as I come out of the house, I look at the sun and just say, thank you very much for coming today, right? Of course, it is I and the eyes of Supreme Lord. That's another way of looking at it, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. But our appreciation and gratefulness that you have come here today, because if you would not have come, then this whole universe would have been, this whole planet would have been inundated. It would have become frozen, right? Or dead. All of us would be just gone in a flash of a second. But when the eclipse happens, that is actually very inauspicious time, where the sun and the moon are protecting us through their sunshine, moonshine. There are inconceivably number of blessings and energies that are coming from these planets, which are saving us from many diseases and saving us from many, ill alignments and, so many other things we are being saved from. But when eclipse happens, that's actually very dangerous time, very dangerous time. It's unfortunate that people sit outside now with black specs and they're like looking around, oh, eclipse is coming. They think it's a entertainment activity, seeing an eclipse. But actually getting exposed to eclipse, it makes you exposed to many diseases and many, many dangerous things, right? And as Kali Yuga progresses, the number of eclipses increase, and that is how the diseases increase. That is how so many problems are coming, to our health, and so many problems are coming emotionally, mentally. So many things are happening because of increase in the number of eclipses. Eclipse is not an auspicious thing, never, right? The only time it was auspicious when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, right? When he made everybody chant the holy names, and he chose the time of eclipse to appear. Yeah. So basically, but a lot of people don't understand that, right? So if eclipse would have continued for a long time, if eclipse happens for more, actually it doesn't happen for more than 40 minutes. That is called a muhurta. A muhurta is like that much time. And that muhurta is limited to only muhurta only because of Sudarshan Chakra. Right? Supreme Lord Sudarshan Chakra comes and kicks this or threatens this or scares this Rahu and Ketu, that they immediately go away from there. Because they know the amount of damage that is happening to Earth planet, to the planet that they're covering, basically. So here in the purport, Prabhupada explains how they are scared of the Sudarshan Chakra, and how, and how the eclipse is a very dangerous thing that happens to us. Text number 4. Below Rahu, by 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles, are the planets known as Siddhaloka, Charanaloka, Vidyadhara Loka. Now the hierarchy comes below the Rahu, all the 14 planetary systems, and then we have Earth, and then all the planets below. Right? Today our focus will be planets below Earth, but it's starting there. Right? So Siddhaloka is a place where yogis stay. Yogis, not ordinary yogis. There are some fools claiming themselves as Adi yogis, this yogis, that yogis on the planet system. They're not yogis. They are complete yogis. They're complete jokers, who are trying to claim. Yogis are self-satisfied, extremely focused, and Lord Krishna explains in the 6th chapter, last sloka, the perfect yogi is the one who surrenders to me. Right? Of course, they are not totally surrendered to Krishna. That's why they're still in some yogi loka or siddha loka. Right? So those planets are there below, below the Rahu. Right? So text number 5. Beneath Vidyadhara loka, Charana loka, and siddha loka, in the sky called Antariksha, are the places of enjoyment for the yakshas, rakshasas, pisachas, ghosts, and so on. Antariksha extends as far as the wind blows and the clouds float in the sky. Above this, there is no more air. So we know what we are talking about, right? Antariksha. We actually use this word, being born in Bharatvarsha, whichever language we belong to. Antariksh, we understand what it is. Sky. The limit of sky. Until where we can breathe, right? So it is being mentioned that these are, in the sky called Antariksha, are the place of enjoyment for yakshas, rakshasas, pisachas, ghosts, and so on. So that's where they stay. We don't need to go up there. So that's where they stay. So Antariksha extends as far as the wind blows and the clouds float in the sky. Above this, there is no more air. There is space, vacuum. Vacuum for us, right? But it's different for different entities. Text 6. Below the abodes of yakshas and rakshasas, by a distance of 100 yojanas, 800 miles, is planet Earth. Right? So 800 miles below is planet Earth. From the place where ghostly beings live, under that, right? Its upper limits extend as high as the swans, hawks, eagles, and similar large birds fly. So we go only up till that point, right? Until we can breathe. But beyond that also there is air, somewhat of air. But we don't understand what that is, right? But it is being mentioned. So maybe where the satellites are going on, ghosts live. I don't know. I'm just speculating. 800 miles. I don't think they're 800 miles up, but a little further. Is where all the rakshasas, pisachas, and yakshas, they all live. So look at the precision to which Bhagavatam is explaining. Until the birds fly, right? And like swans, it is also being mentioned the names of the birds. Hamsa, swans, Bhasa, vultures, Shena, eagles, and other Suparna, Adhya, the other birds, or the chief among the birds. What is that? Patatri Pravara can fly. Utpatanti can fly. Text 7. My dear king, beneath this earth. So now the actual chapter starts. The subterranean heavenly planet. The title goes. My dear king, beneath this earth are 7 other planets known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. I have already explained the situation of the planetary systems of the earth. Bharatvarsha, there was an entire chapter. So Sukadeva Goswami is telling, I already explained about planet Earth. The width and length of the 7 lower planetary systems are calculated to be exactly the same as those of the Earth. So all these Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala, all of them are exactly the size of Earth. What is the dimension of the Earth planet is? How much accuracy we have? Hare Krishna. Text 8. In these 7 planetary systems, which are known as subterranean heavens, Bilaswargas, they're called Bilaswargas, right? There are very beautiful houses. Now, just imagine. Before reading this chapter, my imagination of Tala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala was all like, oh, there'll be like horrible, deserts and no water and no this, people will struggle to survive. They're suffering there. I think Earth is better because they're going. No, it's not like that. It will be inconceivable for some of you if you've not read this chapter before. Hear it, you'll be shocked. In these 7 planetary systems, which are also known as subterranean heavens, Bilaswarga, there are very beautiful houses, right? Gardens, places of sense enjoyment, which are even more opulent than those in the higher planets. Because the demons have a very high standard of sensual pleasure, wealth, and influence. Most of the residents of these planets, who are known as Daityas, Danavas, and Nagas, live as householders. Most of them are grahasthas, or rather Brahmasis, you can say. Their wives, children, friends, and society. Second, I'll just mute. Yeah. Their wives, children, friends, and society are fully engaged in illusionary material happiness. The sense enjoyment of the demigods is sometimes disturbed, but the residents of these planets enjoy life without disturbances. Thus, they are understood to be very much attached to illusionary happiness. Now, Prabhuji and Mataji, you should understand that why they are called as lower planets is because their opportunity to remember God is zero. Not because their opportunities to enjoy material life are less. Right? Often we discuss, right? I mean, sometimes I quote this in some lectures and some people get angry also, at least some new people, because they don't have much introduction to, spirituality. I tell them that you forget Krishna and so many bad things will happen in your life, right? I tell them, that, I'm just repeating what I've heard from Prabhupada and other acharyas, that if you forget Krishna, if you forget spiritual life, so many bad things will happen. If you've heard, our classes, can some of you quote what bad things will happen? If you forget Krishna and devotional life, so many bad things will happen.
You'll take the human body again. Any body again.
Okay. What else? Some things that we tell that, materialistic people, they get bewildered.
They will get more money.
Yeah. See, that's what, right? You forget devotional life, then Mother Durga puts you into complete illusionary happiness. If I make this statement, materialistic person will not be affected. Like, what is that you're speaking? Some English you're speaking. But then you get into details, right? You have to tell at a level that people understand. So, you say, oh, when you forget Krishna, so many bad things will happen. They'll think bad things will happen means, maybe I'll lose my wealth, maybe I'll get diseases, maybe I'll have some problems. No, you go reverse. Go reverse. Okay, to be very, very clear, okay, what will happen? If you forget Krishna, you will get a flat in Neopolis. Your wife will start listening to you. Your children will become very obedient. Your health will improve like anything. You'll get double promotion in office. Your salary will be the biggest in Hyderabad. Now, if you see my expression and what I'm saying, where will you put me? You'll put me in mental hospital, right? Isn't it? Because this is what is material enjoyment. Prabhu's Mataji. This is what people work for. This is what people die for. I want a beautiful spouse. I want obedient children. I want unlimited wealth. I want my house at a place where, I want my house at a place where it's most in demand, right? Earlier, even now in Hyderabad, if someone asks, where is your house? And say, my house is in Banjara Hills. Like, oh, man. He seems to be a very rich person. It can even be a hut in the slum of Banjara Hills. That's a different thing. But the name Banjara Hills itself defines, right? And now the Banjara Hills is extending to some other parts of Hyderabad. I'll not tell those names because I'll look like a real estate agent already. So, so the point is, we identify with so many things, which is what is materialism. Devotees go to those places to preach. That's a different thing. But many people go to those places to reach happiness, not to preach. They want to experience that wealth and that pride, right? I have a villa in Neopolis. No, Neopolis is a new word, right? New buzzword, where so many big skyscrapers are coming. I'm in that area. I live in that area, like that, right? So they identify with that. And that is what they think as elevation or growth, right? Now here in Bhagavatam, just see the reverse analogy. The elevation and growth is being explained in 24th chapter, but in reverse. What is that reverse? That you're going away from God. And that is the most unfortunate part. What is the problem going through this Bilas Vargas? That they are more opulent than Swargalokas also. These 7 planets are actually more opulent. They're having better houses, better facilities, better sense enjoyment, better beautiful people, and no disturbances. He's saying, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, sometimes in Swargaloka you can get some disturbance, some Asura might attack or something. But in Asura Lokas, the 7 Lokas, no disturbance also. And if you further go, they explain there is no old age. You just die young, you just live for those number. I don't know the number of years. That aspect I have not read in the chapter. Maybe somebody can research and tell, whether when we go down, the number of years decrease or increase. I think they increase. Just like when we go up, it increases. When we go away from Earth, it increases the time dimension. But the enjoyment is seamless, right? There's no limit to the enjoyment, right? So the sense enjoyment of the demigods is sometimes disturbed, but the residents of this planet enjoy life without disturbances, right? So for a devotee, this is bad news, Prabhus. This is a very bad news. It's because we are going to go to these planets, and then coming out of them is very difficult. We'll keep taking repeated birth again and again because we'll never think about God. There's no opportunity of thinking about God because you are so much engrossed in enjoyment, so much happy with what you have. Isn't it? So much happy that such people who are happy with what they have and they use God for their happiness are called asuras, daityas, danavas, nagas, right? All these daityas, asuras. Text 9. My dear king, in the imitation heavens, known as Bilasvarga, there is a great demon named Mayadanava. We've heard this name many times. He is the one who constructed, who designed and architected and constructed from Kandaprastha to Indraprastha, right? Mayadanava for Pandavas, who is an expert artist and architect. He has constructed many brilliant decorated cities. There are many wonderful houses, walls, gates. Now, hear the detail. Hear the detail. There are many wonderful houses in this Daitya Lokas, Bilasvargas. Walls, gates, assembly houses, temples also, Why temples in those places? You need to use God, right? Even Hiranyakashipu does tapasya. For what? For sense enjoyment. Yards, temple compounds, as well as many, this is inconceivable, hotels serving as residential quarters for foreigners. The houses for the leaders of these planets, MLA quarters, are constructed with the most valuable jewels. And they are always crowded with living entities known as Nagas and Asuras, as well as many pigeons, parrots, and similar birds. All in all, these imitation heavenly cities are most beautifully situated and attractively decorated. Wow, pray. Be careful while I'm reading all this. I'm also being very careful that if I get any attraction toward these, then you will find me in Atala Sutala, Vitala Talatala, Rasatala, and I'll be gone there. So we should be very careful while we hear this. Text 10. The parks and gardens in the artificial heavens surpass the beauty of those in the upper heavenly planets. So Indra is actually, sometimes I wonder why Asuras are fighting with Indra. They have better places. Why they have to go and try to conquer his planet? Their planets have to be better, have better things. The trees in those gardens, embraced by creepers, bend with heavenly burden of twigs with fruits and flowers. So there is good food also. And therefore, they appear extraordinarily beautiful. That beauty could attract anyone and make his mind fully blossom in the pleasure of sense gratification. There are many lakes and reservoirs with clear, transparent water, agitated by jumping fish, and decorated with many flowers such as lilies, kuvalayas, kahalaras, and blue and red lotuses. Pairs of chakravakas and many other water birds nest in the lakes and always enjoy in happy mood, making sweet, pleasing vibrations that are very satisfying and conducive to enjoyment of the senses. Okay, let's take a couple of comments. What are you feeling at this point, hearing these details of this Vilas Vargas? Just general comments. क्या लग रहा है?
बहुत अच्छा है. Earlier when you used to hear about hellish planet, then नो था कि कढ़ाई में तलते हैं और पकौड़े बनाएंगे.
नहीं, वो चैप्टर 26 है. वो पता नहीं कौन पढ़ने वाला है, वो बहुत समझाने वाला है. That day of Bhagavatam class nobody should miss when the 26 or whatever hellish planet. This is not hellish planet. These are lower planets.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I used to think that lower planets means there is no sun, there is no light at all.
No, that is there. There is no light. Next verse is that only. Okay, let me read that. Verse number 11. Since there is no sunshine in those subterranean planets, time is not divided into days and nights, and consequently, fear produced by time does not exist. So you don't know whether it's day or night. So where is the light coming from? From the snakes, money. There is a money and it is actually very bright. So anyway, yeah, what are you feeling by hearing about all these facilities in this planet?
Prabhuji, there is one thing I wanted to say, like how in the description of this Bhumandala, they said that the Himalayas that we have is a reflection of the Himalaya. And there are everything is a reflection, right? Vrindavan is a reflection of the spiritual Golok Vrindavan. Like that, I was thinking that are Atala, Vitala, Sutala also reflected in our gated communities here? And
we are trying to create that 7 planets in.
Yeah, because the description is so similar, right? Pigeons are coming and.
Yeah. The only difference is there the trees have fruits and twigs. Here the trees have nothing.
Yes, the decorative plants.
Decorative plants.
Because it is reflection now. Everything is like not
But
exactly. But is it like that, Prabhuji? Is it like that? I mean, can we say like even when we get very bewildered by the development, like most of the people got attracted to the development in the Western world and then went there, right? So where there is like godlessness and everything. So is that a reflection?
Of course, Mataji. See, as you see, recently I sent, if you go back 2 days, just search in Gachibowli Satsang WhatsApp group. I've sent a lecture of Prabhupada. Please hear that. It's amazing lecture. I heard it's a half an hour, 40 minutes lecture of Prabhupada, where he explains about 8.4 million species. And I think Prabhupada is giving a lecture in Germany because he quotes about Germans many times, right? And he says, you all Germans, if you die, you think you'll be born in Germany again? No. Karma can decide your body anywhere. Don't be under the illusion that you'll take birth in Germany. Like that Prabhupada is telling. You please hear that lecture. It's very sweet and very nice, very instructive. And so Prabhupada was saying that, Western countries means he was saying the same experience of hellish planets and Swarga planets you can experience within the earth itself, whereby the West is bent more on sensual enjoyment and East is bent more on renunciation. Supposed to be. Right? And whoever has gone to America, if you really think about it, just let me tell you this. If you really think about it, the gated communities that are getting constructed in India now are mostly to attract the NRIs to come back to India. Because they are trying to give the same facilities what they get in America. The concept is from there only. The concept is from there only.
Very
right?
true, Prabhuji. In our community, 75% are NRIs only.
Yeah, that's what. And somebody wants to feel like NRI here, who is staying here, he gets into that place. But the appreciation for that gated community is more for the people who come back from America or those Western countries. Because that's what they experience there. They are experiencing the same thing here now. Right? What does it mean? Non-stop water supply, non-stop electricity supply, non-stop, availability of swimming pools and parks and, exercise, gymnasiums, all these things, whatever I want, everything that I want to enjoy, available at a single place, right? And I don't have to drive to go, I can just walk and I can wear whatever I want inside this gated community. I can live the way I want. The whole conception is enjoyment, right? It's gated hell in a way for a spiritualist, but it's a gated heaven for a materialist, right? Where he wants to enjoy it. He wants to enjoy it. That's the reason people in gated communities fight like cats and dogs. If you go to Sanjeev Reddy Nagar, nobody is fighting there. But if you go to a gated community, they fight like cats and dogs because they want to make sure that they enjoy there, and any obstacle in that enjoyment will create hell. See, when I used to live in Hyderabad, in Santosh Nagar area, I don't know how many of you know Santosh Nagar, near lab quarters was my school and that area. Sometimes power is to go in the night and it is to come back after one day. Our children can't understand what I'm saying. But I think some of us can remember those days, when power is to go for one day and practically the next day will start without power and still everything is going on in the house, and then you come back and you start with a candle, you have your dinner and candle, you sleep and wonder when the power is going to come. Just open the windows and sleep, and there was never a hue and cry and a big deal about it, right? Yesterday night in the community where I stay, my home Krishi, the generator did not work. The auto start of generator did not work for 40 minutes at 2:30 in the night. So from 2:30 to 3:15, there was no power. I just got up because fan is not working, right? So, it's summer. I just got up and opened the two windows and I slept because there is some circulation of air and we are okay with it. And the morning, because I'm part of the MC, and in the morning I see the whole MyGate and the whole MyGate is an app, where people communicate. And what is that? Telegram group is filled with complaints saying, how can this happen? Where is the backup service? Why this is not taken care? How, this, they could not, they cannot accept it. That something like that can happen. For us, maybe who are 40 plus in this call, it's okay for us if there is no power for a day. Big deal. If there is no fan, okay, I'll just open the window. I'm okay with it. Yeah. But if you're too engrossed, even that is a big problem. But but this is what materialism does to you, right? You have designed this world in such a way that you want to enjoy. With everything automated. Yesterday, somebody posted in LinkedIn that a new equipment has come, which is this much in size, and you put all the ingredients in it, and it will cook biryani for you. It will cook raita for you. It will cook anything. You just put it and on your whole recipe book. It's developed by AI, artificial intelligence, and you just put it, and it will keep taking what it has to take, and it will make it. My God, I just replied to it saying, that what kind of food will come without any consciousness? And one other lady, surprisingly, she replied saying this was the only last thing needed to destroy us completely, because there won't be any more exercise, nothing for even for a woman to do, or a man to do, or anything. So there is no limit to this sensual enjoyment. Prabhupada is trying to tell that the Western countries are completely towards sensual enjoyment. That is what is being sold here. That is what is being sold here. That, enjoy without any limits. And that is what is this 7 planetary systems. Right? If I can put this Atala Vitala Sutala, I can say, my home Krishi, my home Ankura, my home Avatar, my home. Praveen Prabhu, sorry. Whatever. Aparna. Anything else? Mukpa in the Prastha, Vitala. What else? Some other gated community names. Just keep putting those names down. That's what it is. And how many people remember about God there? They don't have time to remember about God. You call them for a satsang, you don't have time. Because we want to enjoy. We want to sit in our balconies, have our tea and coffee. We want to have our parties. We want to have rain dance. We want to have festivals, which is only about enjoyment. Right? That's what we want. So these are those 7 lokas. So Krishna is telling that why do you have to create gated communities? I've already created for you. Go to Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Patala. I've already created the gated communities for you. Go there. And nobody will stop. No disturbance, by the way. No disturbances. Right? Go there and enjoy. So these planets, there is no sunshine. Right? Text number 12. Many great serpents reside there with gems on their hoods, and the effulgence of these gems dissipates the darkness in all directions. Inconceivable, right? There are snake serpents and there are gems on them, and that is what is giving light in these places. There is no sunlight. But still they are called heavens, heavenly planets. Text 13. Since the residents of these planets drink and bathe in juices and elixirs made from wonderful herbs, they are freed from all anxieties and physical diseases. They have no experience of gray hair, wrinkles, or invalidity. Their bodily lusters do not fade. Just see this. Prabhus, Matajis, I'll repeat this again. Since the residents of these planets drink and bathe in juices and elixirs made of wonderful herbs, so fully Ayurvedic, full Ayush centers are running there. They are freed from all anxieties and physical diseases. There is no anxiety. There is only one anxiety. What is it? Death.
I will be dead. Yeah.
Death. And death also they don't remember. Death also, it's like, I'm telling all of you, okay, I'm going in the pool now, and just going in the pool, I'm just walking and I die. Finish. People, what happened to this fellow? He suddenly died. Because the Sudarshan Chakra time came and they died. That's all. There is no disease. There is no old age. There is no anxiety. What anxieties people have here? I should have wealth. I should have job. I should, I should have good business. No income tax. All that. There is no income tax department there. In these 7 planets, just enjoy. No anxieties. No anxieties. Now we also call Vaikuntha as a place of no anxieties, right? But there is Krishna there. But the biggest anxiety still exists, that is here. Brahma Bhuna Loko Punaravartino Arjuna. All these 7 planets come in that. Right? They all have to come back again and again and again. Anxieties and physical diseases. There is no physical disease, but mental disease might be there. They have no experience of grey hair, no hair dyes. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Premanande. And some of us who are growing old, 50s, no wrinkles. Aha. Prabhu, Bhavandi Prabhuji. Or invalidity. Their bodily luster does not fade. Meaning you are like always Nava Yavanamcha. No, Nava Yavanamcha is only for Krishna. But, you always look, if your bodily luster is not going away, you always look young. Their perspiration does not cause bad smell, so no bad odor. And they're not troubled by fatigue or by lack of energy or enthusiasm due to old age. So there is no old age. Prabhu, ये क्या पढ़ रहे हैं अपन लोग? स्वर्ग के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं या नरक के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं? Text 14. They live very auspiciously and do not fear death from anything but death's established time. Except death's established time, they don't fear anything. Which is effulgence of Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Meaning, whenever Sudarshan Chakra is rotating, that means the time is rotating. That's how the time is rotating. And whenever that time comes, Sudarshan Chakra comes, which is what it means, they die. Right? That's what it means. They die. Text 15. When the Sudarshan disc enters those provinces, the pregnant wives of the demons have miscarriages due to the fear of its effulgence. So whenever they feel that effulgence coming, to Sudarshan Chakra, time death, they have miscarriages, abortions. Text 15. So text 16. Now is a long shloka. I'll read the translation itself. So please hear it attentively. My dear king, now I shall describe to you the lower planetary systems one by one, beginning from Atala. Can everybody tell Atala? Atala! कोई तो बोलो.
Atala.
Atala. बोलो, क्योंकि वहां नहीं जाना है. We don't want to go there. At least we want to make sure that we don't go to Atala. So what is there in Atala? In Atala, there is a demon, the son of Mayadanava, named Bala, who created 96 kinds of mystic power. 96 kinds of mystic power. Some so-called yogis and swamis take advantage of this mystic power to cheat people even today. Simply by yawning, the demon Bala created 3 kinds of women. He creates 3 kinds of women in Atala planet, known as Swairini, Kamini, and Pumschali. The Swairinis like to marry men from their own group. The Kaminis marry men from any group. And Pumschalis change husbands one after another. Right? If a man enters the planet of Atala, as soon as he enters, these women immediately capture him and induce him to drink an intoxicating beverage made with a drug known as Hataka. That is, Prabhupada is saying, cannabis indica. Something is, Prabhupada is comparing it to maybe it's available here also, I don't know. This intoxicant endows the man with great sexual prowess, of which the women take advantage for enjoyment. A woman will enchant him with attractive glances, intimate words, smiles of love, and then embraces. In this way, she induces him to enjoy sex with her to her full satisfaction. Because of this increased sexual power, the man thinks himself stronger than 10,000 elephants and considers himself most perfect. Indeed, illusion intoxicated by false pride, he thinks himself God, ignoring impending death. Right? So, this is, I mean, it is self-explanatory. I don't have to explain this, about this woman and, but I'd like to give an example. There is this company owner in Bay Area. He organizes, in San Francisco, he blocks streets of San Francisco and he organizes the open world, right? They call it open world. I'm not quoting the name of the company or the person. If you know, you know, right? So he organizes open world where he invites people from all over the world to come and see the new things that he has developed in his company. And this fellow, every year he comes to that open world with a new woman, right? With a new attractive woman. Sometimes she is a wife or sometimes she's a girlfriend. He must have had many, 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 many. So most attractive part for a lot of people who attend this is, the woman that he brings along with him in his so-called new car, new enjoyable car, right? So you can see what Bhagavatam is telling is a clear reflection of where the man's pride sits. He might construct a 100-story building. He might construct a vehicle that will take him to other planets, right? But the most attractive thing for him, which makes him feel like a man, is a beautiful woman beside him. And that is Maya. That is Maya. That I am enjoying this woman and this woman is dependent on me. Right? That is Maya. That is the greatest Maya for a man. Right? And that is why, if a woman is nice with a man, is very supportive and very much giving him the materialistic enjoyment, that man will become the richest man on the planet. He will make it happen. He'll make it happen. That's what it is. But if the woman becomes a part of his misery and a part of his, dissatisfaction on the planet, a horrible spouse, then he will not earn. He will not construct anything big. It's not possible. He will just become, he will turn towards renunciation. That's a natural thing for a man to do. He can turn towards renunciation, due to the frustration. Not everyone becomes a devotee. Renunciation and devotee is a different thing. Renunciation is part of becoming a devotee, but not necessarily devotee. But this is the thing. But, that's why Prabhupada said, when he went to New York City, he said, definitely the place has beautiful women, because if there are no beautiful women, then why would anybody construct these skyscrapers? And why are these big buildings coming and big flats, 15,000 square feet flat coming in Hyderabad? Because there are beautiful women. I want to show that I live with the most beautiful women in those flats. Or I want to show other beautiful women that how rich I am. So I'm attractive to them. I'm attractive to them, right? Or the car that I come in a Jaguar car. And immediately everybody is looking, hey, yes, come on a Jaguar car. Right? So the car is attracting the attention of so many people around. So this is opulence. Materialistic life means showing that opulence and attracting people, with your opulence. And finally, it reduces to sexual happiness. And more than the sexual happiness, it is the pride of having access and pride of having so many beautiful women. And which is what happens in Atala planet, right? So Krishna has provided that for people who want it, go to Atala. Text 17. The next planet below Atala is Vitala, wherein Lord Shiva, who is known as the master of gold mines, lives with his personal associates, the ghosts and similar living entities. Lord Shiva, as the progenitor, engages in sex with Bhavani, the progenitress, to produce living entities, and from the mixture of their vital fluid, the river named Hataki is generated. When fire, being made to blaze by the wind, drinks of this river and then sizzles and spits it out, it produces gold called Hataka. The demons who live on this planet with their wives decorate themselves with various ornaments made of that gold, and thus they live there very happily. Right? So here in the purport, Prabhupada explains that actually Sanatana Goswami in one of the verses explains how to make gold. Right? He's not actually explaining how to make gold, but the translation goes, as one transforms Kamsa or bell metal into gold by treating it with mercury, one can turn a low-born person into a Brahmana by initiating him into proper Vaishnava activities. So as part of that verse, how a worst person can be converted into a Vaishnava, in similar way, by adding of certain mercury into bell metal, the bell metal can become gold. Right? So in that quote, Prabhupada is saying some people actually tried doing that in the past. But if they do it properly, they can actually produce gold. So if a materialistic person is reading this conversation in Bhagavatam, I think this will be his last words, because after that he'll close the book and run for bell metal, mercury. Where can I make gold? So if somebody wants to do some new business, follow this verse and purport. Make gold. Why to make rolled gold? So here it is being mentioned that, actually it's also mentioned, right? Lord Shiva's semen, when it fell on the earth in many places, those all places are gold mines, right? So the vital fluids of Bhavani and Lord Shiva, don't think that they are engaging in sex like materialistic people are. They are doing a service to progenate the universe, and Vaishnavanam Yathashambhu. They are doing that service in service of Lord Krishna, that they are creating this situation where the materialistic people can enjoy, and it is being mentioned that, the Mangatrai jewelers, or I don't know, what is that famous, that Gundu Fellows jeweler? I don't know, forgot. So all those jewel shops.
Lalita jewelry.
Lalita jeweler. Lalita jeweler. All these they have their branches in, what is the planet called? Vitala. Right? Rather, Vitala has those branches in Bhuloka. Right? So there are many, many jewelry shops where the most attractive thing is jewelry. How much people are behind jewelry, huh? How much money is being spent? Prabhu's, one devotee was doing his son's marriage in India, and he needed some help, in shopping. I don't know why, because I look like a perfect materialist. I am a perfect materialist. So they took me to that shop, and I was just standing there, and I was seeing, my God, how people are buying gold. Huh? How people are buying gold. How they are wearing that much amount of gold. They want, we try to negotiate in Amazon. We try to search for saving 20 rupees, 30 rupees, or 1,500 rupees between brands. But these rich people, when they go to the gold shops, they're buying a necklace worth 50 lakhs as if it is an afternoon meal, right? 50 lakhs. And then they have these ceremonies in front of their families, right? Where they have this big weddings or big whatever ceremonies they do. They spend like 3-4 crores, and the woman is wearing practically 10 crores worth jewelry. 10 crores worth jewelry on a woman, right? And she's walking around people showing that, what I am. Look at me. Prabhus and Matajis, we are fortunate that our greatest jewel is here. Our greatest jewel. right? Tulsi beads. This is Kantimala. This is giving the inner happiness. This is taking us to a place where we get Krishna's love. Because Krishna's love will satisfy us from within. And Krishna's love is the eternal love, which will give us the kind of happiness. And we can give Krishna happiness. And these are eternal position, right? Gopi Padakam. Gopi Padakamalayora Dasa 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 Anudas. That is the eternal position. This is the real happiness of wearing this. If you're not wearing this, then actually you're a poor person. Not if you're not wearing that jewelry, you're a poor person. If you're not wearing this, you're a poor person. And how many fortunate people are wearing this? I think I'm a very rich person, right? You wear one line, you wear two lines. When you get initiated, you wear three lines. So your jewelry is increasing. But this jewelry is what? Is the opportunity to serve Krishna. Seva adhikara diyo karunijo dasi. Namo namaha tulasi Krishna prayasi namo namaha. Right? Seva adhikara diyo. So she's giving us an opportunity to serve by giving her part of her, the beads itself, right? And the most unfortunate part is, Prabhu's, when sometimes without proper guidance, some practicing devotees, they remove this and go to functions wearing that yellow stool called gold. They remove this. It should never be removed, Prabhus. This should go till our deathbed. Recently, I was having an MRI and they asked me to remove this. I was like so scared, what happens if I die in that MRI? As it is, I'm get scared going into the little hole called MRI. If I die without a Kantimala, what happens? My God. No, I don't want to die without the touch of Tulsi Maharani. No, it should go to my deathbed. The day I die, I want this on me. This is my jewelry for a devotee. I'm not a devotee. I'm just telling to become a devotee also. This is what you need, right? This is our jewelry. What is opulence for a devotee? What is opulence for a devotee? Association of devotees is opulence for devotee. Chanting Hare Krishna mantra is opulence of a devotee. Wearing Kantimala is opulence of a devotee. Wearing tilak. I see some people not putting tilak when they go to materialistic functions. Okay, you don't put it in office because your boss is a secular fool. Forget about it. You are going yourself to a materialistic to satisfy some relative you're going. Why are you not putting your tilak? What is wrong with you? Don't you know this is the opulence of a devotee? If you put this tilak, later on, Prabhupada talks about the opulence of holy name in one of the purports here. Right? Prabhus and Matajis, let us not give away what we have been given. This is given to you. You have no right to put this. This is given to you. You know, right? You don't put a Kantimala by yourself. You ask a senior devotee to put it. Everybody on this call, you're not worn your Kantimala by yourself. A devotee gives it to you. It's given to you. And it's given through Krishna's order or Krishna's desire and Krishna's blessing. The Kantimala comes to you. How dare you remove that Kantimala? Right? So unfortunate. So at least people on this call, your Kantimala should be removed, should never be removed, should just burn along with your body until you die. Can everybody on this call agree to this?
Yes.
Huh?
Don't do that.
Yes, Prabhuji. We accept it.
Some unguided people do that. I feel so unfortunate to see them, even within our society sometimes. They're not properly guided by their Siksha Gurus, or they're doing disservice to their Diksha Gurus. We're removing this in a materialistic function, to wear gold, to wear a suit, removing this tilak in a materialistic function, to look like somebody. That's nonsense. Never do that. Please, my humble request, at least the devotees, whom I am serving, let's maintain the standard. For our own good, we don't want to give away what Krishna has given us at any cost. At any cost. Right? Hare Krishna. So I got diverted a little. Is it time? Let me go fast. Text 18. Yeah, so we are going further. Next gated community. Okay, what is the next one? Below the planet Vitala is another planet known as Sutala, where the great son of Maharaj Virochana, Bali Maharaj Ki Jai, the great devotee, who is celebrated as the most pious king, resides even now. For the welfare of Indra, the king of the heaven, Lord Vishnu appeared in the form of dwarf brahmachari as a son of Aditi and tricked Bali Maharaj by begging for only 3 places of land, but taking all the 3 worlds. Being very pleased with Bali Maharaj for giving all his possessions, the Lord returned his kingdom and made him richer than the opulent king Indra. Even now, Bali Maharaj engages in devotional service of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the planet of Sutala. So here, the amazing part is, Sukadeva Goswami is speaking about cosmology, planet by planet. And as soon as he starts speaking about Bali Maharaj, he becomes so much, he becomes so much overwhelmed and happy talking about Bali Maharaj. For some verses now, he forgets about cosmology. He's only talking about Bali Maharaj, right? So it's almost like a part of 8th canto coming into 5th canto, right? The future cantos coming here, part of it. So, another thing Prabhupada clarifies is the verse says that Bali Maharaj gave away whatever God gave, what God asked. That is the reason God gave back heaven. No, that's not the truth. That's what Prabhupada clarifies. It says, Bali Maharaj never asked for heaven. And Bali Maharaj, even in this subterranean heavenly planets, right? He is not enjoying those planets. He's not materially enjoying. He's using all that opulence in service of Krishna. So Sutala planet is a planet where we have Bali Maharaj. So if some of us reach there, we are at least going to be an association of devotee. But why should we even reach there? We should go back to Krishna. So here the explanation is being given that how a devotee, even though he lives in a gated community, even though he lives in a prestigious gated community, he is only using his position for devotional service, right? Like, Somataji and Praveen Prabhu's house, if you go inside, it's almost like a temple. Everywhere you can see Krishna only, right? So they are attracting people in that gated community, by showing them the most beautiful house, which has only Krishna, right? So every devotee can do that. All the devotees are actually doing it. Dasraj Prabhu is doing that. Satya Prabhu is doing that. And whatever God has given as a situation, I'm living in this so-called, community. And any person who comes to my house, they say, oh, there is Krishna everywhere. And I feel very nice. And I feel safe when they say that. They said, okay, that means Krishna is there, and in a way the house is serving the purpose, right? So even when they come to our center, Bhakti Center, which we all together opened, right? People are attracted to see the pictures, people are attracted to see the way Bhagavatam is kept, the way Chaitanya Charitamrita is kept, the altar, and the deities that all of you bring each week to the center, people are attracted to that. So that is how we are using our opulence. That is what Bali Maharaj is doing. He's using his opulence in the planet called Sutala in service of the Lord. So let's read a little about Bali Maharaj as Sukadeva Goswami continues. Text number 19. My dear king, Bali Maharaj donated all his possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamanadev, but one should not certainly one should certainly not conclude that he achieved the greatest worldly opulence in Bilaswarga as a result of his charitable disposition. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of life for all living entities, lives within everyone as the friendly super soul, and under his direction, a living entity enjoys or suffers in the material world. Greatly appreciating the transcendental qualities of the Lord, Bali Maharaj offered everything at his lotus feet. His purpose, however, was not to gain anything material, but to become a pure devotee. For a pure devotee, the door of liberation is automatically opened. One should not think that Bali Maharaj was given so much material opulence merely because of his charity. When one, now just hear this very clearly, when one becomes a pure devotee in love, he may also be blessed with good material position by the will of the Supreme Lord. However, one should not mistakenly think that the material opulence of a devotee is a result of his devotional service. You should never think that. It's a very fundamental line. If somebody is rich, don't think the richness is given to him because he is a devotee. The real result of devotional service is the awakening of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which continues under all circumstances, which is eternal. Every other material opulence is temporary. The only eternal thing is devotional service. Text 20. If one who is embraced by hunger, or who falls down, or stumbles, chants the holy name of the Lord even once. Now see the glories of holy name. This is one of the best purports. I would request you to read the whole purport of text 20. In the interest of time, I'm not reading, but I'll tell you the essence of it. So here the translation itself, Sukadeva Goswami is telling, please, I think we all can repeat this, please everybody repeat this. If one who is embraced by hunger,
If one who is embarrassed by hunger,
or who falls down,
or who falls down,
or stumbles, chants the holy name of the Lord even once,
chants the holy name of the Lord even once,
willingly
willingly
or unwillingly, he is immediately freed from the reactions
he is immediately freed from the reactions
of his past deeds.
of his past deeds.
Karmis entangled in material activities
Karmis entangled in material activities
face many difficulties in the practice of mystic yoga
in the practice of mystic yoga
and other endeavors to achieve that same freedom. So you can imagine, even unwillingly, even unknowingly, even without a proper pronunciation, if somebody is chanting the holy names of God, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, all your past karmas are burnt to ashes. Sukadeva Goswami is telling this verse. And he's telling that liberation will come to you. Right? You are liberated just by chanting. But the only thing is that Krishna's love can be achieved through Guru's blessings. And you also chant for that, but materialistic people have to go through so many things, do so many yajnas, homas, so many things to get this kind of, to remove even one little karma, right? To remove one little karma, you have to do so many things, but all that is done by just chanting the holy name of the Lord. And here in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 3.177, 3.188, Haridas Thakura's confirmation of effecting the chanting of the holy names is mentioned here, right? Where he says that by chanting the holy name, one is freed from all sinful life, but that is just a side effect. And further he says, the actual result of chanting the holy name of the Lord is one awakens a dormant love for Krishna consciousness. And the byproducts of chanting are liberation and freedom from sinful reactions. They are byproducts. They're not even something that you have to focus on. And he says, he placed a verse before the learned's corners, and then he explains to them that as the sun begins to rise, it dissipates the darkness in night, even before the sunshine is visible. He says, even by chanting the holy name, similarly, even before one chanting of the holy name is pure, One is freed from all sinful reactions. Even you're not chanting it purely, meaning namabhas. You see, one is namaprad, second is namabhas, and third is pure chanting, Shuddhanam. So even in namabhas state, when you are committing 10 offenses, you will not get any results. But when you are even in namabhas state, when your faith is still fragile, you're not committing offenses, but you are continuing trying to become pure, even that namabhas is going to remove from everything. And Prabhupada explains about what is namabhas and all these things in the purport here. Text 21. Sukadeva Goswami continues. The personality of Godhead who is situated in everyone's heart as a super soul sells himself to his devotees such as Narad Muni. He sells himself. He's not bought. He's selling himself, meaning he's so willing to be sold. Right? In other words, the Lord gives pure love to such devotees and gives himself to those who love him purely. Great realized, self-realized mystic yogis such as the four Kumaras also derived great transcendental bliss from realizing the super soul within them. Even yogis, just to feel Paramatma within them, they feel so much happiness. They feel so much satisfaction. Text 22. The Supreme Personality of Godhead did not award his mercy to Bali Maharaj by giving him material happiness and opulence. But for these, make one forget the loving service to the Lord. The result of the material opulence is that one no longer is absorbed in his mind in the Supreme Personality of God. So here is really revealing the secret of this these 7 planets. What is the secret? The mood of actually, Sukadeva Goswami is telling, the result of the material opulence of being in the 7 planets is that one can no longer absorb his mind in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the problem. That is the problem, which only devotee can see. Right? So, text 23. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead could see no other means of taking everything away from Bali Maharaj, he adopted the trick of begging from him and took away all the 3 worlds. Thus, only his body was left. But the Lord was still not satisfied. He arrested Bali Maharaj, bound him with the ropes of Varuna, and threw him into a cave in a mountain. Nevertheless, although all this property was taken, all his property was taken away, and he was thrown into a cave, Bali Maharaj was such a great devotee that he spoke as follows. Now, Bali Maharaj, some words are being mentioned, right? Even though, just imagine, God comes, Prabhu, just think about it. God comes, takes away your flat or villa or whatever you stay in, takes away your bank balance, takes away your job, takes away your pride in the society, takes away any good name you have in the society, and then still you are chanting, and then he puts you into Tihar jail, or more locally, what is that jail called in Hyderabad? Mushrambagh jail. Right? It puts you in that jail, right? And in that situation, are you going to say this? Right? Now, hear what Bali Maharaj is saying. In that situation, he's saying, alas, how pitiable it is for Indra. Huh? Now he is giving a lesson to Indra. Bali Maharaj is giving a lesson to Indra. In that jail, after losing everything, people lose their property and they question, why did it happen with me? God, where are you? They lose their job, they go into depression, they lose their wealth, they lose their health. They say, oh, you have done so much. And here, Bali Maharaj, after losing everything, name, everything, he is telling how pitiable it is for Indra, the king of the heaven, that although he is very learned and powerful, and although he chose Brahaspati as his prime minister to instruct him, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. Brahaspati is also unintelligent because he did not properly instruct his disciple Indra. Lord Vamandev was standing at Indra's door, right? But King Indra, instead of begging him for an opportunity to render transcendental loving service, engaged him in asking him for alms to gain the 3 worlds for his sense gratification. Sovereignty over the 3 worlds is very insignificant because whatever material opulence one may possess lasts only for an age of Manu, which is but a tiny fraction of endless time. Now, why did Vamandev come? Because Indra went and prayed. My villa, my property is taken away. My 3 worlds are taken away. Please help me. Brahaspati is, standing there, looking at Indra, crying in front of Vishnu. Arey, Bali Maharaj is saying, "Tu pagal hai kya? Indra, before you, the Supreme Lord came, and all that he could ask is this: what I have given away. What Bali Maharaj just gave away without a thought. Even when his guru Shukracharya came and told, no, don't give. This is Vishnu who has come to cheat you. It's like, go hell with it. My grandfather Prahlad Maharaj actually instructed what is happiness and devotional service. And you are stopping me from giving away these 3 worlds? He just gave away the 3 worlds. And he's telling, I gave away the 3 worlds to get the mercy of the Lord, and the mercy of the Lord is so great that it is eternal, and it is the most highest happiness is to serve the Supreme Lord, devotional service. You should have asked for that. And with your guru standing Brahaspati beside you, you asked for this that I left, that I gave away. What Indra is, what did you achieve? Hare Krishna. What a verse. What a beautiful verse. This is Bhagavatam, Prabhu. This is Bhagavatam. Like a conversation of a great devotee. Right? Bali Maharaj is speaking this. Text 25. Bali Maharaj is saying, my grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is the only person who understood his own self-interest. Meaning he was self-realized. He knows the self-interest. Upon the death of Prahlad's father Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narsingdev wanted to offer Prahlada his father's kingdom and even wanted to grant him liberation from material bondage. But Prahlada accepted neither liberation and material opulence, he thought, are obstacles to the devotional service. And therefore, such gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not his actual mercy. I want actual mercy of God. Consequently, instead of accepting the results of karma and jnana, Prahlad Maharaj simply begged the Lord for engagement in the service of his servant. Now, the last line is most important, which is Prabhupada goes ecstatic in the purport, just with the last line of the purport. What is it? Prahlad Maharaj simply begged the Lord for engagement in the service, not in his service, of his servant. And Prabhupada immediately goes, Gopi, Bharata, Padakamala, Yor, Dasa, Dasanu, Das, is the mention in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is our highest position, is to serve the servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord. Prabhujis and Matajis, are you in this life able to serve the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. We are all serving,
Prabhuji.
the likes of Radhesham Prabhu, the likes of so many other senior devotees who have come. Prabhu, this is the greatest opulence we already got. Do we realize that? We already got the greatest opulence. Gopi Padakamalayora Dasa 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 Dasanu Das. Gopi Bharata Padakamalayora Dasa. That is the greatest opulence. And we are already getting in this society called International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are the richest people on the planet. But if we are still thinking, I'm unfortunate, I lost something, then we have not understood Krishna consciousness. Of course, it's not that easy. Let's also be fair. It's not that easy. We are reading Bhagavatam, which is a Paramahamsa Samhita for Paramahamsas, right? So it's not that easy. But understand that this is the truth. The day we realize it, the day we understand this, the day is not too far if we are just in the process. If we leave satsang, if we go away from satsang, giving any reason, we are the most unfortunate. We are the most, because if you leave satsang, how can you serve the servant of the servant? You'll only serve yourself. Right? You'll only serve yourself. Prabhus, remember one thing, please. If I am preaching without being preached, I'm actually doing sense gratification. You all understood? If I am preaching without being preached, I'm actually doing sense gratification in the name of preaching. Meaning, if you are not in satsang with your Siksha Guru, with your peers, equals, then whatever you're doing with people who are below you is just sense gratification. Because the real opulence is Gopi, Bharatu, Pada Kamalayora, Dasa, Dasanu, Das. Whose Das are you? Whose dasa are you? Are you Haridasa or you are Godasa? Huh? Haridasa means Hari's servant's dasa. That's what Hari thinks. And Godasa means servant of your senses, right? And the biggest servant is your mind. If you are away from satsang, if you're away from your guru, if you're away from the devotees in your circle, and you are doing something far away, that's not bhakti. That's your sense gratification. You're just using your skills. You might see some things happening there. Krishna will give you that happiness also, but nothing will come out. That is why satsang is very, very important. That is why we need all the three associations, right? Peers, our equals, people who we are getting the service to guide, and people who are always guiding us. Always. Always. I'm not telling this to tell you come to the Sunday class. Forget about Sunday class. You should understand the fundamental behind that. The fundamental is we want to become the servant of the servant of the servant. And to remain a servant, you have to have somebody to serve. And the greatest service we can do is give this 2 years every week and sit and listen. If you think that I've understood, you have not understood anything in Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj is saying that that is the greatest opulence he asked for after getting the opportunity to rule the entire universe, what his father had. He's saying, don't give me that. That's a diversion for me. Give me the service to your servant. That is satsang. Text 26. Bali Maharaj said, people like us who are still attached to material enjoyment, who are contaminated by the modes of material nature, and who lack the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot follow the supreme path of Prahlad Maharaj, the exalted devotee of the Lord. Now here, Bali Maharaj is speaking, he's saying, people like us. And Prabhupada immediately corrects in the purport saying, Bali Maharaj is a pure devotee. He's thinking like that. That's a symptom of pure devotee. He never thinks that he's a devotee. But he is actually following the footsteps of his grandfather. He's following. Right? And he followed. He gave away everything without any single thought, and he's appreciating, and he's telling Indra that you did not do the right thing. Right? So who are the people who are still attached to material enjoyment? Bhogeshware prashiktanam taya pratyechasam vyavasayatmika buddhir samadham avidiyate. So very clearly, people who are behind material enjoyment and people who are contaminated by the modes of material nature. Right? Contaminated means what? I'm doing bhakti for good house, good health, good wealth, good name. That is why I'm doing bhakti. That's the modes of material nature. Sattva-guna, Raja-guna, Tamo-guna. You're doing. And to lack mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How does one lack the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Prabhuji? How does one lack the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What comes to your mind when you hear this statement? The one who lacks the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead?
By not taking association of devotees.
That's it. Thank you, Vanilla Mataji. That's it. Remember that. Association of devotees is the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because these devotees are the only ones who will remind you again and again and again that don't go to Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Patala. Don't go. They are the only ones who will remind. Entire whole world is telling you go there. You already read, right? All the gated communities. You are attracted to go there. This is like a sales. Actually, this chapter 24 is like a sales brochure, a real estate sales brochure. But when a devotee reads that, he understands this is not a sales brochure. This is a brochure of misfortune that will take us to the wrong places. So the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead is when you have satsang. Right? Cannot follow the supreme path of Prahlad Maharaj, the exalted devotee of the Lord. They cannot follow the supreme path. Let's finish the chapter. Sukadeva Goswami continued. My dear king, how shall I glorify the character of Bali Maharaj, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality of God, the master of the three worlds, who is most compassionate to his own devotee, stands with a club in his hand at Bali Maharaj's door. He is standing at the door with a club in his hand. When Ravana, the powerful demon, came to gain victory over Bali Maharaj, Vamandev kicked him a distance of 80,000 miles. That is the distance between, in the initial time we read between sun and the planet below. And with his big toe. With his big toe, he kicked him. I shall explain the character and activities of Bali Maharaj later. Now, Sukadeva Goswami is like, oh, I got diverted. Let me, because as soon as you talk about a devotee, you don't want to stop and like, wait, I'm going to talk about it in 8th canto. But let me finish explaining the remaining gated communities. Let me finish explaining the remaining, heavenly planets. So he's telling, I'll talk to you later about don't. So Parikshit Maharaj doesn't want to stop. So he's like, Parikshit Maharaj, I'll tell about it later. We'll discuss with Bali Maharaj later. But let me just finish the cosmology. Little bit more is left. 3 more verses, Prabhuji. Text 28. Beneath the planet known as Sutala is another planet called Talatala, which is ruled by the Danava demon named Maya. Maya is known as the Acharya of all the Mayavis. This Acharya, used in as a kind of a pessimistic or not, sarcastic way, Acharya of metalist, Acharya of Mayavis, who can invoke the powers of sorcery. For the benefit of the 3 worlds, Lord Shiva, who is known as Tripurari, once set the fire to the 3 kingdoms of Maya, but later being pleased with him, he returned his kingdom. Since that time, Maya Danava has been protected by Lord Shiva, and therefore he falsely thinks that he need not fear the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is another pastime. We'll discuss some other time. So here, the planetary system known as Talatala is known as Mahatala. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You are audible.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhu. There was the current went away in my Rasatala current went away. So yeah, so in the last 2 verses, I'm just reading. Where am I? Yeah, Lord Shiva, and therefore he falsely thinks that he doesn't have to fear from Sudarshan Chakra. So there's we can discuss this pastime later. So text 29. The planetary system known as Talatala is known as Mahatala. System below Talatala is known as Mahatala. It is the abode of many hooded snakes, descendants of Kadru, who are always very angry. The great snakes who are prominent are Kuhaka, Takshaka, Kalia, and Susena. The snakes in Mahatala are always disturbed with the fear of Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu. But although they are full of anxiety, some of them nevertheless sport with their wives, children, friends, and relatives. So here Prabhupada writes in purport how much we are in illusion, right? When we have our family around us, we are like, oh, we feel that death also will not come. Right? We feel that death also will not come if family is around. Family actually keeps us in illusion. Family is not bad as long as we think this family of Krishna, which will remind us of Krishna at the time of death. But materialistic people, if they have their family, they think that, I'm in the greatest heavenly planet. Text 30. Beneath Mahatala is a planetary system, a system known as Rasatala, which is the abode of the demoniac sons of Diti and Danu. They are called Panis, Nivata, Kavachas, Kaleyas, and Hiranya Pura Vasis, those living in Hiranyapura. They are all enemies of the demigods, and they reside in holes like snakes. From birth, they are extremely powerful and cruel. And although they are proud of their strength, they are always freed by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who rules all the planetary systems. When a female messenger from Indra named Sarama chants a particular curse, the serpentine demons of Mahatala become very afraid of Indra. So again, there are different pastimes being explained here. The last verse, Prabhuji's, text number 31. Now let's discuss about the ultimate gated community, which is Patala. Beneath Rasatala is another planetary system known as Patala or Nagaloka, where there are many demoniac serpents. The masters of Nagaloka, such as Shankha, Kulika, Mahashankha, Sevata, Dhananjaya, Dhatarashtra, Shankachuda, Kambala, Ashwatra, and Devadatta. The chief among them is Vasuki. They are all extremely angry and they have many, many hoods. Some snakes, 5 hoods, some 7, some 10, and others 1,000, and some and others 1,000. Others 100 and others 1,000. These hoods are bedecked with valuable gems, and the light emanating from the gems illuminates the entire planetary system of Bila Swarga. So these planets here, they illuminate the system of Bila Swarga. Right? So thus ends the Bhaktivinoda purports of the 5th canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Subterranean Heavenly Planets, or in my stupid interpretation, the subterranean gated communities. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Grantha ki jai, all assembled devotees ki jai, Nitai Gaur Hari Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji, thank you for holding on and staying this long on the call. I don't know how was the recording. There was an interruption in between. Any reflections, quick reflections, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, any reflection, and we'll close the call.
So, Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead. You can unmute and speak.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so in Atal, right? So many facilities are there. What is their end of this life? Where they will go?
They'll come back to Patal. That's what Prabhupada mentioned in the beginning of this chapter. He says that the problem with these planets is the people who go to these planets have very little motive to come out of the planet. They'll keep taking birth again and again. Because while they die also, their consciousness is enjoying their wives, enjoying women, enjoying material sense gratification, good houses, good facilities. That's what they die in. So they never ask for God. So they keep going back again and again.
But they are not suffering, Prabhuji, like in this Bhuloka, material worlds.
Yeah.
Everyone is in misery, right?
Yeah.
So then there is no difference, right? Either they live there or there, but they are enjoying their life.
Yeah. So Bhuloka is a perfect place. That is why it is told that Bharatvarsha, Bhuloka is a perfect place to go back to God, because we have equal amount of happiness also, equal amount of distress also. The problem with heavenly planets, I don't remember in which chapter it is quoted. There is a verse about this which says that Bhuloka is a perfect place to go back to God, because here we are given ample, we are not troubled like hellish planets, which is what will lead in 26th chapter. We are not troubled like hellish planets. At the same time, we are not like living in so much opulence that we never remember God only. So we are in a better situation, Prabhu. Just imagine software company without a boss. That is Atala Vitala Sutala.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Software company with a boss who will give you work on Friday evening until Monday morning it has to finish is Bhuloka. Software company where salary gets doubled every month and there is no responsibility and you keep getting awards and every appraisal is your glorification is Atala Vitala Sutala. Without a boss.
Yes, Prabhuji. But see, being a devotee, we can understand our goal is to go to the Golka Dham, right? But if you discuss with the same materialistic person, they will say, why should I take work in Bhuloka? I will go to
I go to Patala.
Every time I will die and
Prabhu, once Radhesham Prabhu was telling in his old lecture that one person, one devotee, he was trying to preach in a college and there was some discussion, some argument or discussion that happened with the principal of the college in Pune, I think. And there this devotee told, I will give you a book, you read that, then you'll get faith. And you know which book he gave? 5th canto of Bhagavatam. And it so happened that the principal actually landed up reading all these chapters also. And he went to this chapter and finally to the hellish planets where the 5th canto ends. 6th canto is Ajamil's story. How to come out of the hellish planets. It's a continuation. But when he read this fifth canto, he kept it aside and said, I don't want Krishna consciousness. Because the explanation is completely reverse to what world is thinking. And Radhesham Prabhu says, never discuss fifth canto with people whose faith is fragile. So if there are any new people in this call who have never attended a class, you're coming here, I'm warning you that this chapter may not increase your faith, might even disturb your faith, because you need some amount of faith to understand what is real good for us. Because this chapter completely shows everything good, 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 good. And the chapter also ended saying it is good, good, good. But for a materialistic person, he'll never understand that it is actually bad. Only a devotee can understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other reflections? I know it's Ekadashi. You want to chat more rounds, more time for devotion. Nobody speaking anything? Hare Krishna. Yeah, Subbarao Prabhu, Mahesh Prabhu, Praveen Prabhus.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
In Bhagavatam, in most of the places, the 10th canto, we should not progress directly. So we are.
Prabhu, your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear. Your voice is breaking.
I think I have a network issue working. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible now. Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
So as I said, 5th canto might decrease the faith in Krishna consciousness. 10th canto, we should not go directly because everything. We are distributing Srimad Bhagavatam to the general public. Aren't we disturbing their consciousness doing this?
No. We are giving Bhagavatam and asking them to read from the first canto. But Prabhu, understand one thing, that Bhagavatam reaching to a house can only happen by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Even that boy, the example that I gave, him giving the fifth canto to the principal was a plan of the Supreme Lord. It was not for disturbing him. Supreme Lord wanted to give him that opportunity. Some past life, something he might have done. He got access, he touched Bhagavatam. So, everything is plan of the Supreme Lord. So, we are giving the Bhagavatam. And after that, how the Bhagavatam is going to work on him is completely a relationship between Supreme Lord and that particular devotee. When will he start? Whether his son will start, whether his grandson will start, whether somebody his grandfather who is already in the house about to die is going to start, we don't know. Bhagavatam is choosing to go to a house or a temple, and how the Bhagavatam is going to benefit is completely a transaction between them. And by the way, there are instances where people ask for Bhagavatam to be kept in their temple, they never came to collect it. Because God did not want to go, even though you can plan. But if Krishna doesn't want to go, he'll not go. Bhagavatam is Swayam Krishna. And some places where we never even planned, the person came and took it saying, I want it in my house, I want it in my library, I want it in my temple, I want it in my educational institution. So there actually Krishna wanted to go. So Bhagavatam we keeping and Bhagavatam we giving, book distribution is completely happening not because of we are taking the books to the road, because books wanted to go to the road and go to a certain place.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Hare Krishna. Okay, one final reflection. Anything else? Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And please come tomorrow to Bhakti Center. Unfortunately, Madhusudan Vishnu Prabhu's grandmother is not feeling well. She's serious. So let's all of us here in the call chant one Hare Krishna mantra for the sweet will of the Supreme Lord, that his grandmother doesn't go through any suffering. And whatever the Lord's plan is, it will be executed and she will go very closer to the Lord's abode. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Grantha ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhya, Kripa Sindhubhya cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Tender pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.